Today's episode is brought to you by The Boyfriend Project, written by Farah Rashan. It's the Mocha Girls Read National Book Club's July Book of the Month. Visit their website and join in today. Smaya Brooks thought she would never be that girl, but a live tweet of a horrific date just revealed the painful truth. She's been catfished by a 3-timing jerk of a boyfriend. Suddenly, Smaya, along with 2 other girlfriends, London and Taylor, have gone viral online. Now the 3 new besties are making a pact to spend the next 6 months investing in themselves. No men, no dating, and no worrying about their relationship status. For once, Smaya is putting herself first, and that includes finally developing an app she's always dreamed of creating, which is the exact moment she meets the deliciously sexy, honey-eyed Daniel Collins at work. What are the chances? When it comes to love, there is no such thing as coincidence. But is Daniel really boyfriend material, or is he maybe just a little too good to be true? The Boyfriend Project is available now in paperback, ebook, and audiobook from your favorite bookseller. Learn more by visiting mochagirlsread.com. Welcome to the Shelf Addiction Podcast, and thank you for streaming or downloading today's Shelf Byte episode. If you're new here, Shelf Bytes feature spoiler-free book and audiobook reviews in just a few minutes. I'm your host, Tamara Ford. If you'd like to chat with me about the book reviewed in this episode, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shelf Addiction. In addition, don't forget that you can always find me both in our Facebook group, Shelf Addiction Official, or over on the Patreon page. Speaking of Patreon, thank you to all of our members. Your support means so much. If you'd like to show your support for the show, please consider becoming a Shelf Addiction Patreon subscriber. You'll gain access to exclusive Patreon-only content, including monthly live streams, uncut video of podcast recordings, stickers, t-shirts, and more, depending on your subscription level. Join us now by clicking in the show notes or go to shelfaddiction.com and click on the Support Us tab. Help us make even more bookish content for your ears. If you'd like to show your support in a non-monetary way, please share this episode with bookish friends or on your favorite social media space. All right, guys, let's jump into it. I chose today's title because I had heard so much about it, and it's in one of my favorite genres, which is thriller suspense. I received the audiobook download courtesy of Libro FM and Harper Audio via their influencers program. So y'all already know what's up. While I was given access to this title, all thoughts and opinions are my own. As I mentioned, I listened to this on audiobook. The unabridged audio ran 9 hours and 54 minutes. This title was narrated by Jot Davies, Chloe Macy, Olivia Dowd, Ophie McMahon, Sarah Ovens, and Rich Keeble. The release date was June 2nd, 2020 by Harper Audio. So for those of you that have no clue what this book is about, I will share with you the Goodreads synopsis for the guest list by Lucy Foley. The bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, the bridesmaids, the body. On an island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather to celebrate 2 people joining their lives together as one. The groom, handsome and charming, a rising television star. The bride, smart and ambitious, a magazine publisher. It's a wedding for a magazine or for a celebrity. The designer dress, the remote location, the luxe party favors, the boutique whiskey. The cell phone service may be spotty and the waves may be rough, but every detail has been expertly planned and will be expertly executed. But perfection is for plans, and people are all too human. As the champagne is popped and the festivities begin, resentments and petty jealousy begin to mingle with the reminiscences and well wishes. The groomsmen begin the drinking game from their school days. The bridesmaid not so accidentally ruins her dress. The bride's oldest male friend gives an uncomfortable, caring toast, and then someone turns up dead. Who didn't wish the happy couple well? And perhaps more important, why? Yeah, that sounds really intriguing, doesn't it, guys? And let me tell you, the book was very intriguing. Let's start with the characters. As you could probably tell by the number of narrators I mentioned, this is a multiple point of view story, and I couldn't have seen it any other way. This style of a whodunit needs a lot of options, and we got that. Between the bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, and the bridesmaid, there are so many possibilities. It was a fun ride as all the layers started to reveal themselves. The characters were interesting, and they all left me trying to figure out what was what. Between all those characters, some seemed more reliable and some not so much. Not only was the question who to trust, why do we want to trust them, why can't we trust them, it actually came down to who actually died, right up until the end. But in hindsight, one could kind of sort out who was dead. If you've read the book, tell me, did you know who the dead person was before it was revealed? I didn't know, but, like I said, looking back, you can kind of tell if you're paying attention. This plot was one I could easily see turned into a movie. It was well-paced with a solid balance of suspense and mystery. I really got into the world building as I could visualize a dreary wedding day on a small island in the middle of nowhere with a slightly creepy old home where the VIP guests stayed for a few days before the wedding. I could visualize the choppy waters off of the island, the cold whipping wind, and of course, a lavish wedding amongst all of it. At all weddings, you're asked, how do you know the bride or groom? This wedding weekend took us on a trip down memory lane for these characters, and while some of these relationships are very twisted and they are revealed slowly, which adds to the drama and complexity of it all, I enjoyed that this story touched on themes of long-kept secrets, murder, lies, and deceit. On the flip side, I could see how some readers could perceive this as a slow start. The focus was on the characters for the first half of the book, so there was really no quote-unquote action until after that. And of course, there are a few trigger warnings I want you to be aware of. Revenge porn, manipulation of a young woman, abortion, and suicide. I listened to this on audiobook, and hearing the multiple voices were invaluable. While each chapter was titled with who was narrating, hearing the change in voice really helped me keep things straight. This title has 6 narrators if you weren't counting earlier. I've not come across an audiobook with this many narrators in a long time. Although I did find the change in voice helpful, I'm still not sure 6 were needed. Maybe 4, maybe 3, I don't know. With my American ear for English, I wasn't able to tell the nuances between the British characters and the Irish characters. The accents sounded pretty similar. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it kind of didn't matter who was British and who was Irish. It really didn't matter at all. So I don't necessarily know if all 6 narrators were actually needed. But nonetheless, it was fun to hear the different voices. This was my first time reading Lucy Foley, and it definitely won't be my last. I rated the guest list 4 out of 5. I recommend this book for those that enjoy a good whodunit that keeps you guessing the identity of the killer and the victim until the very end. Also, if you're an audiobook fan, this full cast is not to be missed. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I look forward to speaking with you in the next episode. And until then, happy reading. Take care, everybody. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.